Hi, and welcome to the Days Gone podcast. I'm Claire Weaver, a screenwriter, author, and Days Gone fan, and this podcast is a place to discuss the game in all its glory, share my opinions, both popular and unpopular, and listen to me fangirl over one of the best games ever made. There will be spoilers ahead, so continue at your own risk. Welcome to the Freak Show. Welcome back to my conversation with Spawnicus Rex about the Days Gone skill tree. Last week we discussed the initial skills to unlock, and here's 1 through 4 of the ranged skill tree. Now we're going to discuss the rest of the skill tree, how to find out how much XP you get from missions, and when your next skill point will unlock. But before we get started, I have a couple reminders. Every morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, you can watch me live stream my Survival 2 Fresh Start playthrough. I take on hordes, talk shit about rippers, and lay waste to ambush camps, all before I've had my morning cup of coffee. You can find me on my YouTube channel, just search for Days Gone Podcast. And on Tuesdays, I invade the Spawnicus Rex YouTube channel for a collaborative live stream playthrough of Days Gone. He goes into the advanced gameplay tactics and strategy that he is so well known for, and I discuss the story, characters, and all the amazing details of the game. You can find us live on the Spawnicus Rex YouTube channel every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific.
Then on to Tier 5. We are now on Tier 5 of the range skills. I get all of the Tier 5 skills. I get all of them. The first one that I get is actually Up the Ante. This one might surprise some people because the Head Rush skill gives you health every time you score a headshot, which is neat. It's really handy, but Up the Ante increases the ammo capacity for all ranged weapons. So, for example, it's the reserve capacity. It's not what you have in your magazine. It's the reserve capacity. For example, with the auto shotgun. The auto shotgun is always 16 shells per magazine. That drum magazine on there always has 16 shotgun shells in it. You can't change that. But what you can change, when you first unlock the auto shotgun, I believe it has 64 rounds in reserve. So you have 16 in the magazine and 64 rounds in reserve. With this skill Up the Ante, which increases your ammo capacity for all weapons, that doubles it to 128 rounds in reserve.
Does it double all of them?
It does. It doubles the reserve capacity on all weapons. So, like, for example, that's how you get the MG55 up to like 115 rounds. No, wait, I've said that wrong. That's magazine capacity. I apologize. But anyway, that's how you increase the amount of ammo that Deacon has in his pockets, basically.
Add another man purse, basically.
Add another man purse for ammo. Now, we were actually, I can't recall who it was talking about it. I think it might have been my buddy Jeremy McGee. Was talking about it in one of my recent live streams. You know, he and I, we actually shoot guns in real life. We own firearms and we do shoot guns for, for entertainment, for target practice and stuff. And he was talking about how extremely heavy that would be because ammunition is pretty fucking heavy. It's got some weight to it. And to have like 128 shotgun shells in your pocket, that's you wouldn't be able to move. You wouldn't be able to move. It's absurd. Yeah. I guess that's Deacon's got those strong hips and leg muscles from doing all those squats, walking around in crouch mode all the time. And the neuro injectors too. So it's the only reason he can carry all that ammo. But Up the Ante is the first Tier 5 skill that I get because it increases your ability to stay in the field. And like if you have the level 4 saddlebags on the bike where you can refill your ammo in the field 4 times. So let's help me out with the math here. Have you got a calculator handy? No. I suck at math.
So
you don't have a calculator? Oh, come on,
I have
man.
Google.
Hey, that works. All right. So you have 16 shells in the magazine and 128 rounds in reserve. What's 16 and 128?
144.
144. Okay. You have that in your weapon right now. You have 144 rounds for your shotgun available right now in your hand. You can refill that 4 times. So what's 144 times 4?
576.
Add 144 because you've already got 144 in your hand.
720.
You have 720 rounds of 12 gauge shotgun ammo in a fully automatic shotgun if you have the auto shotgun, up the ante skill, and the max upgrade on your saddlebags, where you have 4 saddlebags. So that's what you have access to in the field if you have the up the ante skill and some saddlebags on your bike.
That's just between going to gun lockers and back to merchants.
That's going to your bike.
No, that's what I mean. Like in between, so you can go to a gun merchant.
Right, in between having
everything.
to return to camp.
Yeah.
Right. You have access to over 700 rounds in the field before you have to go back to camp.
Just on one gun, and you have 3
on that
you're
one
carrying.
weapon. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. And that is why I say up the ante is the single most important tier 5 skill in the range tree. Because you then get the head rush ability, which each headshot makes, recovers a little bit of health for every headshot. Well, now you can do up to 720 headshots, so that is why I do those skills in that order. Now, one thing about the skill trees here, and we'll get into this in more detail when we start discussing some of the other skills. One thing about the skill tree in Days Gone, one of my very minor complaints, one of my very few actual complaints about Days Gone, I wish it would give us the numbers. It simply says headshot kills recover health. How much health? Is it a percentage? Is it a flat number? Is it a percentage of your health? Is it a percentage of your current health? Is it a percentage of your max health? I don't know, because they don't fucking tell us.
You didn't figure it out? You haven't paid attention, figured it out?
I don't care that much.
You
honestly,
love the game, you don't care that much.
I don't care about that detail that much, but it is one of my few genuine complaints, is I really wish they would give us the numbers. Because, a lot of gamers such as myself, no, I'm not a big numbers person. Math is not my strong suit, but in order for me to crunch the numbers and find the most effective play style, so that I can max out the stuff that matters and minimize the shit that doesn't matter, I need to know the numbers, man.
Right.
Tell me what the percentage is. So anyway, moving on from that. The final skill that I get under the ranged skill tree is the 2 birds, 1 bullet. And what that does, that's your last tier 5 skill that I normally get. It increases projectile penetration for ranged weapons. And yes, more penetration is always better, but as far as actual game terms and taking control within the game world, the other 2 are more important. What 2 birds, 1 bullet is specific for is for killing hordes.
Right. I find it really useful for that, because 720 rounds is a lot, I don't
1,440 kills possibly, sure.
But what I'm saying is, without the up the ante skill, I still have a lot of bullets. I still have a lot of rounds. And if I'm going up against a horde,
Gotcha.
If I'm shooting, because I don't like to use the guns against horde, I like different tactics. So the guns to me are kind of like the melee weapons are to you. It's like, if I'm using my gun, something went wrong. Or I'm just feeling like a fucking badass and want to shoot a bunch of freaks.
Yeah, now you're talking, yeah.
Either way, I want one, because the time it takes to shoot one round is massively important to me. For every round I shoot, I want to get the maximum number of kills for that. So for me, if it can take out 2 enemies versus just taking out one
trigger pull,
that reduces the horde so much more.
Sure.
And saves me time, gives me breathing room, I can get away or whatever my plan is. That to me is more effective.
Right. Okay. And I absolutely 100% agree with that. 100%. That skill is absolutely critical for killing hordes, which is generally more of a late game activity, or at least mid to late game activity.
But honestly, unlocking tier 5 is generally mid to late game.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah. So I generally save that one skill until after I have the other stuff, until I have everything built where I want it. Because, like you said, using other tactics like explosives and, using the environmental hazards and the explosive barrels and explosive trucks and the Molotovs and stuff like that, using those, you don't need to fire a lot of bullets until you're really set to clearing the late game hordes. So that's why I like to get the other 2 first. But yeah, that's absolutely valid. That skill helps so much when you are clearing hordes. Also, if you have if you've gained a few ranks in the challenges, one of those challenges will also increase your bullet penetration per shot. I do not recall which challenge it is, but like you get various tiers on that. So let's say you earn a bronze rank, you get one extra enemy penetrate. It goes through one extra enemy. You get the silver tier medal on it, then it goes to an additional 2 enemies, and the gold tier, I believe, is an additional 3. Then if you have this skill, it's up to 4 enemies. Every bullet will hit the first enemy and like penetrate another 3 or 4 enemies behind them. Which allows you to just completely, absolutely fucking mow down those endless hordes that you face on the challenges. So if you have a weapon like the MG55, or if you have a weapon like the Growler or something like that, it allows you to just absolutely devastate the hordes by just mowing through the entire front rank. Yeah, so it's another one of those things where you couple this skill with that skill with that effect to maximize your penetration. All right, so that covers ranged.
What's the last branch that we have to go through? Melee?
Right, where once I have all of my tier 5 range skills, then I go to melee. Now, of course, I already have field repairs. That's the first one I get. From there, moving on through the melee tree, the next one I get is Escape Artist. Sometimes I will get this one a little bit earlier. I'll shuffle things around a bit and just spend the 1 skill point to get this one, because this is the one that allows you to get an enemy off of you and tap triangle. You do the timed triangle tap to execute an enemy that's grabbed you. And this allows you not only to get away from those enemies, but to kill them. So it's very handy. If I find myself getting annoyed by being grappled by enemies, I'm like, all right, yeah, I got something for you assholes. Come here. And so I'll get that, put a skill point on that. But generally, again, if an enemy has gotten right in my face, close enough to use that skill, something has gone wrong. I've already fucked up and lost control of the battlefield. It's not a critical skill for me. I generally don't let the enemies get that close. But that is the second one that I get in the melee tree for sure. The next one that I like to get is the Hard Hitter, which increases the damage of both your crafted and found melee weapons. So it's an increase to your DPS. It's an increase to your damage per second. The next one that I get from there is Talk Shit, Get Hit, which is the ability
the names of some of these.
I know, right? Some of these are just fucking fantastic. But this one, Talk Shit, Get Hit, is the ability to perform longer combos with melee weapons. For example, with the Fire Axe. That's my starting melee weapon always, just because it does such high damage per hit. But you can only chain together 3 hits, and then Deacon pauses, and there's a window of opportunity there for the enemies to attack you, to return the attack. This adds I think a 4th hit to that combo with the axe specifically. With other weapons like the machete, for example, it adds even more attacks because that weapon has a higher a faster attack rate. So it's slash, 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 multiple attacks. I don't know the machete well enough to know how many it adds, but it's enough to make the skill worth it with melee weapons. So that's the second one that I get. I can now deal more damage, and I can deal more hits with increased damage. The next one that I get is that unlocks tier 3. And so for the tier 3 skills, I like to get your favorite, Bull Rush. That's one I really enjoy. It's another one I have learned to love. I used to never use that because I just don't use melee. But no, not on purpose. If I use melee, it's by accident because I had to. But Bull Rush is cool because it's the one that actually... Why don't you tell us about Bull Rush? I know that's one of your... I know you're just itching to tell us all about how much you love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just one that just feels... It feels fucking visceral and badass. And this may be because I know you don't play with vibration on the controller. I think it actually activates the vibration, which makes it give you that extra little connection to the game. Right. But it's basically you just sprint at an enemy and he'll just shoulder barge them, and then you hit the button and he'll stab them with the melee. and kill them.
Yeah, okay. So it's virtually an instant kill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it does take a second. I don't know if it protects you if there's two enemies side by side.
It does.
If you can be
Yeah,
attacked.
temporarily, yes. Yeah, temporarily.
So you can just take out one enemy and then just slash with the melee on the other. Now, interestingly, if you unequip your melee weapon, if you just have the boot knife and you do that, I think, doesn't he do a head stomp?
He does a head stomp, yeah. Which I'm glad you brought that up, because that's one of the things that I have learned to appreciate about this skill. When you sprint forward, tap the melee attack button, he'll do a shoulder slam, knocking the enemy to the ground, and then it brings up a button prompt where you can press one button to do an instant finisher move, an instant critical kill hit. And when you do that, you're only using a little bit of durability off of your melee weapon, because you're actually only making that one hit, that one kill hit with your melee weapon. So it preserves the durability on your melee weapon a lot further. Like, I don't even know, but it's a lot.
Yeah, well, it's one hit versus 6
however
or 7.
many it takes. Yeah, right. Or in the case of the Fire Axe, 3 to make a kill. So the other thing that I like about that, if you have the boot knife equipped, like you mentioned, where you just have the boot knife in your hand, use Bull Rush, run up to the shoulder slam, knock the enemy to the ground, Deacon stomps on their head. It doesn't use any durability
because the
of
boot
any
knife
of your weapons.
The
it's
boot
just
knife
the
is
boot knife,
indestructible.
yeah. So that is one way to make kills consistently and use literally 0 resources.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I asked, am I remembering that correctly, is I never equipped the boot knife instead of the melee, because I always have the melee equipped because I use it so often. So I'd heard about that, but I don't know if I've ever actually done that. I may have done it
it really does
twice.
work. Yeah, it really does work. It's actually pretty cool, I think. And that's one of the reasons that I've learned to love that skill, mostly just because, again, I just don't mess around with melee weapons much. So if there's just one enemy that's kind of pissing me off, I'm like, you know what? Come here, and just run up on them and smash them, and
I like to finish every horde with the melee.
I know, right? I love the way you do that. Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah,
it's just kind of my signature.
Such a
thing.
badass.
Well, it's kind of I'm a badass now. There's only 5 or 6 of them left. Yeah, I wasn't so much of a badass when I was crouched in the bushes lobbing attractor bombs.
So once you've got it down to just a few of them left, like, now I'm a badass. Yeah.
Now I can show my face and be like, oh, what up, bitches? Why you're taking a nap?
Where's your face? Where'd your head go?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but it's funny. So you've said that you unlock a bunch of stuff on the survival tree first, the survival branch of the skill tree first. Then you almost entirely do ranged. Then you switch to melee. See, I do the opposite. I do mostly melee, and I'll sprinkle in a few ranged here and there, but I tend to focus a lot more on melee because I do really like Bull Rush.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. And I guess it would be a good idea to get to Bull Rush pretty quickly. Because I know you do use that one a lot.
I love it. Now I've got it unlocked to my current playthrough. I'm just like,
right on.
Bull Rush, like every fucking time.
Just spamming it constantly.
Yeah.
So let's see. In a moment, we'll get to why I focused on those range skills. And it's not as simple as I like the gunplay. There is more to it than that. Of course, with me, there's always a reason for why I do it that way. But we'll get to that here in a second.
You just want to make me feel bad about my...
No, actually, I'm relying on you to remind me so I don't forget that I was going somewhere with that. Yeah, okay. I need your help here. Back me up on this one. Don't let me forget.
All right, old man.
Right. It is what it is. So the next melee skill that we get on tier 3 is the Reckoning, which I just love the sound of that one. I love the name of that one, the Reckoning. So the Reckoning gives melee weapons a chance for a critical takedown on humans, swarmers, and newts. Does not work with the boot knife. So it's one that sounds less than useful until you actually start to use it in practice. And it's kind of like we discussed with Bull Rush, where it allows you one button press to make a kill with one attack, preserving durability on your weapon. This does similar. So it gives you a chance, like say you slash with your machete 2 or 3 times, the button prompt pops up, giving you a, tap 1 button to do a finishing move, preserving durability on your melee weapon.
Now, I will say the finishing moves with the machete are fucking awesome.
They're fucking brutal. Yeah, they are. Yeah, and that's why this skill is called the Reckoning, because it's just fucking brutal finishing moves.
Because we've got to remember, we all play the game because we like it and because it's fun, and there are little touches here and there that just make it fun. Just
it's all about those little
enjoyable.
touches. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. And I know you have mentioned in one of your streams that you didn't really give a shit about that skill. And that's why I wanted to mention that's actually the next one that I get after Bull Rush, because it is in line with preserving the durability on your melee weapon.
It's also a requirement, if I remember correctly, for Retribution.
Is it actually a requirement? Where
one of them is a requirement.
Requires?
I'm pretty sure it's that one.
It may very well be, because what Retribution does is increases that chance, significantly increases the chance to do the critical hit. Huh. Interesting. Okay. I had not noticed that particular detail, but I usually don't get Retribution. And I don't concentrate on melee much. I don't get Retribution until like I'm down to spending those last few points that I don't have any other use for. So that was Bull Rush and Reckoning, and the two of those tie in together because they help to preserve the durability on your melee weapon. The next one that I like to get is the Home Run, which significantly increases the damage of both crafted and found melee weapons. This is another one where I wish they would give us the numbers. Just telling me it significantly increases the damage doesn't tell me how much it increases the damage so that I can decide if it's worth it.
Significantly.
They want you to think that it's significant, apparently. My guess, and again, this is just a guess because they don't give us the numbers, your hard hitter ability, which increases the damage of melee weapons, probably does like a 25% increase, where Home Run, which significantly increases the damage, most likely brings that up to a 50% increase. That would be standard with most games on a skill tree progression, but we don't know. So I do get that one next. That is the first tier 4 ability that I get because, again, it increases your damage per second. It increases your ability to deal damage to the enemies. And then after that, I get the Just Roll with it, which drastically reduces the stamina cost from rolling. Again, we're not cool enough to know the percentage. Is it a 10% reduction? Is it a 25% reduction? We don't fucking know. But anyway, that's just one of my pet peeves is when games with RPG, like role-playing game elements and actual skill tree progression and stuff, they don't give you the numbers. It's kind of insulting. It's like you're literally insulting my intelligence, thinking I'm not smart enough to deal with that knowledge. Like, come on, man. Just tell me the fucking numbers already. So it drastically reduces the stamina cost from rolling, which I don't really find to be that much of a problem. But again, I don't get in close where I'm forced to roll away all the time.
I roll constantly. That's like my go-to. And so when you find out that it reduces the stamina, I'm like, how am I supposed to get away if I need to roll and I need to sprint?
And you're out of stamina. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's when I use things like proximity bombs and proximity mines,
but those rolling
to create distance.
Rolling is important to get away from those so you don't blow yourself up.
if you didn't place them correctly. But
if you're being chased and you're putting them down behind you, you can put one down and roll and it doesn't blow you up and creates that distance with the freaks. Because if you're in a situation where you're shit out of luck, if you're trying to get away from a horde.
Stamina cocktails.
Oh yeah, those things.
Oh, did you hear something?
But if I haven't got Hawkeye and haven't been collecting my plans.
I know why I put that early in. Yeah, it's all about, setting the stage and building on that.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you've got to have a good foundation. that you can build on. So anyway, I'm just picking at you. That's like we discussed in the beginning here is, Days Gone is one of those games that it's so well balanced. You can just go through here and pick your skills at random, and you're probably going to make things more challenging on yourself, but it's going to work. You can find a way to make it work.
Right.
But yeah, I do get the just roll with it ability. It is a nice skill to have, especially if you use a lot of melee. And then finally, one of my personal favorites ties into one of my favorite pro tips. The tier 5 melee skill that I always unlock as soon as I get tier 5 is Executioner. I love the Executioner skill. Yeah.
This is like the most useful, I think.
It really is. Absolutely.
For the second half of the game.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I completely agree. And this is the ability to stealth attack heavy freakers. Also adds the ability to kill heavy freakers and large animals while escaping a grapple. So this is the one that allows you to stealth kill things like your breakers, your reachers. It allows you to escape a grapple from a rager bear and actually have a chance to kill the rager bear. Now, I have to be entirely honest, I suck at tapping the triangle at just the right time to get it in that little window of opportunity.
You want to know what the trick is?
Terrible at that. Yes, please. Please and thank you.
I mean, it is hard, but the trick is to press the button before you think you need to. So don't wait until
then I always press it too soon.
But don't wait until it looks like it's about to go into the little window that you need to get it in. Right. Do it just a beat before that. It is really, really hard, but it is because it moves so fast.
I suck at it. Yeah, I completely suck at those. I even kind of cheated, and in the settings, you can go into accessibility settings, and you can make the icons larger, which helps. But I still suck at it. So I prefer to just blast them in the face with a BFG or something. As far as taking on Rager Bears, specifically because that grapple is so difficult on those guys, I prefer to just use other means or eliminate them avoid them entirely when possible, because you don't get shit for killing them anyway. It's fucking pointless to try and kill the Rager Bears. You don't get anything. You get one worthless, crappy little bounty off of it that's really not even worth. I honestly don't think if you were to just shoot a Rager Bear in the face with the MG55 until it dies, you're not going to get enough credits from that Rager Bear bounty to replace the bullets that you just used.
Right.
So I mean, it's a waste of time to even mess with the Rager Bears. I avoid them entirely whenever possible. Or just pop them in the face a few times with the BFG, which is the most cost-effective method of killing them when it's necessary to kill them. But anyway, Executioner is super cool because it allows you to sneak attack the breakers and the reachers, but also if you pair the Executioner ability with smoke bombs. Use a smoke bomb, it will stun the breaker, it will stun the reacher, and then you can literally run right up on them and do a stealth Executioner kill on them.
While they're coughing and blinded by the smoke.
Yes,
because you can actually kill them from the front. The breakers, you stab them in the eye right from the front.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, absolutely. Which what I love about it is that it gives you the ability to kill them quickly and easily, even if they are aware of you. So it's not necessary to get a true stealth kill on them. You can simply stun them with the tools you're provided. The flashbang will work against breakers. The flashbang will not work against reachers. But the smoke bomb will work against both of them. So I generally just use a smoke bomb because it's pretty much a guaranteed.
Can I also add something here? So a lot of people, I know you personally don't really care so much about the trophies and the like platinum in the game and all of that. But there is a I don't know if it's a trophy or something, a requirement for getting platinum. I don't really pay attention to those things.
Allow me just a moment. I'll have it on screen. I have the game pulled up right now.
But there's one where you have to kill a breaker with a knife.
Okay.
And
probably
I've talked to several people who have said, "Oh, that one gave me so much trouble." And I'm thinking,
like, what are you just trying to fight the fucking thing with a boot knife?
I think so. I think they are. And I was like, wait, hang on.
I'm sorry. I'm imagining someone slashing at a breaker with the boot knife for 20 minutes. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I do think that people do that because they probably don't know about the executioner skill, or they get it so late in the game. They already, if you're paying attention to the trophies, you probably see that and you're like, oh, here's a breaker. I can go get that. I've got half an hour to spare.
Yep. There it is.
You can just like go up and like slash at it with the boot knife, and it's like, oh, you actually, all you need to do is unlock that skill and kill a breaker.
So, yeah. Oh, wow. I honestly have never even imagined that scenario. I honestly just truly do not give a fuck about achievements. I could not possibly care less. Never even looked at them. I think I accidentally got platinum my first time playing Days Gone, just from literally from testing stuff. Just from testing stuff and playing the fucking game. I got all of the achievements, all of the trophies.
I did the same thing. I got almost all of them. The only one I didn't have was 10 minutes of drift. I had like 9 minutes or something.
Oh, yeah.
So it was easy enough. And then the Apocalypse Burnout trophy, which is the one that everyone always ends up with last, because you actually have to.
I don't understand it. That is such an easy one to unlock.
It's not
I've
for
unlocked
everyone,
it by accident.
I say that I unlocked it by accident after I'd been trying for 3 hours, and I don't remember actually getting it. I remember not having it, trying for a whole bunch of time, finally giving up, and then checking my achievements and seeing that I got it.
Look, there it is. Yeah.
When did that fucking happen? Did that happen 10 minutes into me trying? And I just spent the next 2 hours, 50 minutes.
Right. Oh, you had it the whole time.
I know. And that's after I'd spent a week trying to get it without having Nitro 3.
The right stuff. Yeah.
I had the one that's 4.5 seconds and you need 5 seconds of Nitro. And I thought I had it because I'm looking at it thinking that's level 3. And I checked, I went to a merchant and a mechanic, and I looked and I was like, oh, fuck, I didn't have it unlocked. Yeah. This whole fucking time I didn't have it unlocked.
Yeah. So that is one that, I mean, you know me, I genuinely enjoy helping the new players and helping people that are struggling with the game. I really do. That's the whole reason I do 95% of the work that I do on the Days Gone subreddit and the videos that I make is to help make stuff easier for the new players who are struggling. I honestly wish I could identify what it is about that achievement that makes it so difficult for people. I do not comprehend why it is so trouble.
It doesn't fucking work. Because you drift and you hit Nitro and it's like it just doesn't give you the thing.
I wish I could identify specifically what it is that makes it so difficult for everyone to unlock that one, because it is not difficult. I've literally when I started playing on PC, I didn't have any achievements unlocked, and I was like, well, let me see what is required to do this one. Bam, had it done the first time I tried, no problems. This is not a humble brag. I'm honestly trying to identify what I can tell people to help them get it more easily. And I just don't comprehend why it is so troublesome for so many players. I wish that I did know so that I could help people figure it out. So I don't know. I don't know, man. It's not a difficult. I think the problem is that people are making it harder than it really is, and that's why they have so much trouble with it. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. As someone who struggled with it,
maybe
I'm
it
not
literally
saying
just didn't fucking work for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So the one you were talking about, though, is This Is a Knife. That is the name of the achievement you're talking about, where you have to kill a breaker, reacher, or rager bear with a knife. So of
Can
course,
you imagine trying to kill a rager bear with a
fucking
knife?
rager bear, I know, right?
You can't stealth kill a rager bear with a boot knife.
There is no stealth kill on them, yeah. So you literally would just have to hack that fucking thing to pieces, or actually manage to, do an executioner kill on it.
I know how you do it.
What's up? Yeah.
You shoot it a whole bunch, set it on fire,
and then stab it.
Stab it right at the end.
Yeah. Right.
Oh wait, can you just stab it when you get captured by it, when you get caught by it, when it's eating you, and you do the little?
If you have the executioner skill, you can. Only if you have the executioner skill. Otherwise, in fact, I don't think you can do a getaway if you don't have executioner. You can't do a breakaway from them, because it just it chews on you until it's done chewing on you, and then spits you out. Yeah, right. Exactly. So that's another thing that the executioner skill is good for. It allows you to get away from the rager bears,
but that would help you
gnawing on you.
I'm sorry, but that would help you with that trophy if you wanted to do it on a rager bear versus a breaker or a reacher.
Yeah.
You just have to get bit by one and then get the little spinny wheel in exactly the right spot.
Exactly.
And then you get that trophy.
Yeah. So that is where I stop with the melee skills. Once I have those skills that we've just listed, focus shot, field repairs, survival tree up to carry that weight, and then all the other ones that we just discussed. Once I've done that, I'm done building my character for the playthrough. And from there, I'm just assigning points as like, oh, this one sounds cool, or hey, I noticed I was having trouble with this, or this was annoying me earlier, so I'm going to put a point into that. But what I wanted to bring up about the skills, the reason that I do ranged skills first and then start concentrating on melee skills, it's not just that I have a play style that's really heavy on the gunplay and less heavy on the melee. Days Gone is one of those games where you will spend a significant amount of the game engaging literally hundreds of enemies at one time. Melee alone will not see you through those types of encounters. You need to at least have a solid foundation in your ranged skills, because that's fucking Days Gone, man. The hordes is the big selling point for Days Gone, where you are engaging literally hundreds of enemies at one time. Fucking baseball bat is not going to help. You need to have some range skills before you start doing that. And if you follow this progression that I've laid out, by the time you are about ready to leave Lost Lake, you'll have all the way up to the Executioner skill, which, like I said, is the last one that I unlocked for my character build. And so before you even go south, before you even start encountering Reachers and the insane numbers of breakers that you find down south, you'll have all of your survival utility type skills. You'll have all of the important range skills for dealing with the hordes, and you'll also have up to the Executioner skill, which allows you to deal with those late game elite freakers.
So let's talk about XP for a minute, because that is an important way to get skill points. Can you explain how XP works for us?
Yes, actually, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I see, in fact, I'll be entirely honest, I felt this confusion myself on my first playthrough for a while until I figured it out, and I see a lot of people confused by it on the subreddit. The question is, and I'm just throwing numbers out here as an example because I don't recall the exact numbers, but the question will be, hey, I just finished a mission and it said I only got 2,000 of 5,000 XP. Did I miss something? Did I perform poorly during that mission? Should I go back and redo that mission? It's not that complicated. You're making it more complicated than it really is. What that means, okay, you completed a mission. You got 2,000 XP of 5,000. You were awarded 2,000 experience points for completing that mission. 5,000 will get you to the next skill point. So you were awarded 2,000 and you need a total of 5,000 to get your next skill, your next level up and skill point. And it'll say something like, the percentage, it'll show a percentage number. Well, that number is just the percentage of 2,000 to 5,000. You've got, let's say 2,000 and 6,000. Yeah, exactly. You've got 2/5. You've got 20% or you've got 30%. Like, no, you didn't miss anything. You did not only receive 30% of the possible experience points. You got the full XP and you need this much to unlock your next skill point.
So question for that, because I'd seen this question come up on the subreddit and I didn't know the answer to it. And I've seen that on screen where it says 2,000 of 2,500 or whatever, and being like, I don't know what that means. I don't really care. I don't really follow the XP. And I honestly didn't even really think about how XP gives you skills. And like, I mean, I know that, but I just don't really pay attention to these things.
Shit, that's literally, I mean, never mind. I'm going to leave that one alone.
I'm the sort of player that I'm doing things in the game and I'm thinking about being in the game, and then I see a message that says you've got a skill point. I'm like, fucking A, cool, I'll go spend that skill point, or I'll save it for later and forget, as I
and have 5 or 6 built up.
But I honestly, I mean, I enjoy unlocking the skills, but I don't think about XP as because it's not in the game. It's not a real tangible thing that Deacon is holding. It's not picking up kerosene. And now I have 6 kerosene, I can make 6 Molotovs. It's an arbitrary number that doesn't exist in the real world that serves the purpose to unlock new skills. Awesome. But I don't really think about it. But I have a question. So you get XP for killing freaks, and you get more XP for doing like headshots and things like that. I'm sorry, I say freaks, I mean enemies.
Yes.
So oftentimes, usually most of the time when I do a mission, it's usually when I'm paying attention, I see a lot of the time 2,000 of 2,500 or of 5,000, whatever the number is. That's the amount that you get from the mission, but the 5,000 or the 2,500 or whatever.
It's what you need to get the next skill point.
But okay, so here's my question. Why does it never say 2,000 given and you're 3 points away from getting the next skill point? Why is it always a higher number? I've never seen this question. Stupid. I've never seen that.
No. I'm honestly glad you asked, because that is exactly what we're talking about. And I have this on screen here in my current playthrough. I can answer this question. What I'm looking at right now on the skills screen, you swipe down on the touchpad to open up your skills screen, and it shows you the percentage. It actually shows you the percentage where you're at and what you need. I currently have a total of 7,053 experience points, and I need 22,600 experience points to reach the next level up, to get the next skill point. And it shows the percentage 31% at the top of the screen. So let's say I had just finished a mission and it said, hey, you got 7,053 XP of 22,600. That's 31%. What that's telling you is that the experience points that you were awarded for completing that mission got you to 31% of your next level up. You are a third of the way toward your next level up. And that is what it's telling you. That is how the game lets you know, hey, you're getting close. Once you're at, let's say you finish a mission and it says you're at 75%. The number shown is 75% or 90%. It's letting you know, hey, you're getting close to that next skill point. Be ready for your next skill point. Maybe take a look at your skill tree and plan out what you're going to get next to unlock the next tier. That is the game giving you the information you need to make those decisions.
See, the percentage I get, and I wish I had the game open in front of me so I could look at this, but I'm talking about when you finish a mission, it says 2,000 / 2,500 or whatever. I feel like that number is always just a little bit more than what I got.
I can answer this one.
So it's not the percentage, it's the two numbers side by side.
Because what you're basing that off of, most likely, is your multiple New Game Plus playthroughs where your experience points are already maxed out. Do you see that on your current playthrough where you've started a fresh start? Or are you recalling that from your New Game Plus playthroughs where you're already maxed?
I want to say I'm seeing it on the new game fresh start, but now you've said that, I'm probably not thinking of that. I will have to pay attention. This is just something
just double check in your next, and I mean, you're going to be live streaming tomorrow morning?
Yeah, in like 9 hours.
Oh my.
No, not 9 hours. Wait. 11 hours.
Numbers.
Numbers are hard. Well, I'm so glad that you could explain that, because like I said, it's not something I've ever thought of.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that I consider when I'm playing the game. I understand how it works. I play video games. I get that there's a correlation between skills you earn, XP that you earn, and skills that you can spend that XP on to level up your character. But I just don't think about it. It's just not how I enjoy video games. I enjoy being immersed in a world.
That's entirely valid. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I know it's a question that comes up a lot on the sub, so I am really glad that you could bring this up and answer this question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, a couple things before we wrap up. You can support the Days Gone podcast via buymeacoffee.com/daysgonepod, where you can throw a little money in the tip jar if you're feeling generous. That really helps me with the overhead costs of running the show. And I want to say a big thank you to Zylock DNB for buying me coffee this week. Thank you so much. You can also support the podcast by simply leaving a review on Spotify or whatever app you use to listen to us. Also, subscribe and give us a thumbs up on YouTube. That really helps the algorithm do its thing so more people can find the podcast. Rex, thank you for coming on today. This has been invaluable. I've learned so much and I have so much to think about, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am. It is always a pleasure. I'll be happy to be back anytime. Thank you.
You can email me your thoughts, comments, opinions, and counter-arguments at daysgonepod@gmail.com. You can also find me moderating the Days Gone subreddit. Thanks for listening. Weaver out.